A chart topper always is Help Monday with our friends from Marble City Pharmacy, Jared and Jacob. Thank you both for coming today.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, what an intro,
topper.
right?
Chart topper.
My head's already swelled because of
You bring
that.
my Easter candy with you, or is it in the mail or
Lots
something?
of wrappers. Lots of empty wrappers.
An empty box, right?
That's right.
Bag or basket. Low testosterone. Most of us don't know what that is.
Well, we'll start by pronouncing it correctly, which is testosterone.
Well, you can tell I don't know how you say that again. Testosterone?
That's close.
How do you say it?
Testosterone. Yes.
Test.
Say
Like
that.
you failed the test.
Say it fast 10 times.
Testosterone.
Okay, go ahead.
All of us have testosterone. We associate this more with men as we should, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Even females have testosterone to a much lower extent, but that's not our subject for today. We want to talk about low testosterone in males. This is pretty prevalent. All of us as males in our 30s start to lose testosterone at a gradual rate. In fact, we got some numbers here. In our 50s, and in some people, you never notice it. But in others, it turns into a clinical case where we have symptoms. We'll talk about it in just a minute. In fact, roughly 10% of people in their 50s, 20% in their 60s, 30% in their 70s, and then half of people, 50% or more in their 80s, end up having a clinical case with symptoms that they can notice because of low testosterone in their 80s.
Jacob, I knew I had this. And I'm in that 30%.
Well, you don't have to talk to tutor on. Yeah.
It's testosterone.
We're coming off the rails today.
Oh, yeah, he's a smart
This train is derailed.
Yeah.
This train is derailed. You know, the problem we see with this is, one, he mentioned the prevalence, but what's the most troubling part of that is that 15, 20 years ago, those weren't the numbers. It wasn't that high. This is something that's rapidly increasing. And so people ask, well, why? What's causing this? And, you know, when you get to the causes of this, if you just look at what are the causes of low testosterone, you're going to get a slew of answers. You're going to get stuff from birth, birth defect type stuff, some genetic disorders. You're going to get hormonal disorders that happen throughout youth and puberty time. That's not what we're talking about today. So to help narrow it down, if somebody wants to go look this up themselves, we're talking about what's causing age-related decreases in male testosterone, not birth defect and hormone disease type problems. And in this case, it's actually pretty simple. The technical clinical term for this is male hypogonadism, and people
I can't say that either.
People think if I have that, maybe something's wrong down there.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no. It's here. Your brain tells your body how much testosterone to produce, and in this case, it's just not telling it to produce enough or telling it to produce less and less. So that's the general cause of what we're talking about today. It starts here.
Wow. This is an educational show, I'm telling you. I'm going to take another shot at this.
Here we go.
Testosterone.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That might be our greatest accomplishment.
What are some symptoms of this stuff?
Well, we want to get to that in just a second. Let me piggyback on what Jake said, though, as far as who gets it. We've already talked about how a natural part of the aging process, you begin to lose a certain amount of testosterone starting in your mid-30s or so as a man. There are other factors, though, that can make it more prevalent. One would be obesity. The larger you are, the more it affects your ability to make testosterone. There are certain medications, certain kinds of hormones, certain kind of pain medicines that can affect your level of testosterone. And then malnutrition. And by malnutrition, I don't mean you're not getting enough to eat, right?
I ate 3 cheeseburgers yesterday. I'm nourished.
Yeah, the wrong kind of nutrition is what we're getting at, right? If you're not having a well-balanced diet, without getting into too much detail.
So that chocolate candy from yesterday wouldn't work either?
Yes, if you're living off chocolate candy, that's probably not a good sign for your testosterone.
Good point.
So I wanted to deal with the causes, like Jake said. We're not going to get into the stuff that happens in little kids, and then who gets it. And I'll let Jake talk about the symptoms.
Sure. symptoms are wide and varied. And before I do them, most importantly, not everybody who has low testosterone gets any symptoms, and not everybody who has symptoms gets all the symptoms. So, but here are things to look for. The one most commonly associated with, if you ever listen to any radio or television, you get commercials, it's always going to focus on decreased sex drive. That's step, every one of them is going to focus on that. But two, you get decreases of a lot of other things. You get decreased muscle mass. You get decreased bone density and bone strength, which is huge. You get decreased energy and just wanting to get up and go. You get depression. You can even get the symptoms we associate with women in menopause, that brain fog, that irritability, night sweats, all those types of things, mood swings. And in males, we get this interesting thing sometimes. Technical term, I love technical terms for Jimmy Dale. Gynecomastia. That means males start developing larger breast tissue. Sometimes you'll see that in older males, wearing the shirt. Hey, that guy looks like he's growing some breast tissue. Well, that's low testosterone. So a lot, again, not every guy gets all of these. There's just a lot of things out there that can come as a part of low testosterone.
So, what do you do about this?
Well, this is one of the things that, I'll say this is one of the things that maybe we don't talk about as much, but these things that Jake just talked about are very important. They have a lot to do sometimes with your, how do you say this, with your feeling like a man. And when you start to experience some of these symptoms, I think, he said depression is one of the symptoms. Well, depression is one of the symptoms, but I'm not so sure that depression is not caused by some of these other things where you start to feel like maybe I'm losing some of my manhood, right? Let's talk about how you know that this is what this is, because some of the things Jake described are general symptoms. You're irritable, you're depressed, you don't have any energy.
Check.
That seems like all of us, right? So we have to differentiate between this and a whole lot of other things. Fortunately, this is not difficult to detect. It's a simple blood test, right? When you go, and your doctor probably doesn't check this either. When you go for a normal set of blood work every 6 months or every year, when your primary physician checks your lab work, he's probably not checking your testosterone level unless you've described some of these specific symptoms. So it may be a situation where you have to describe to him, I'm experiencing this, and this, to prompt him to check your testosterone. But it's a simple blood test.
Jacob, us men, we don't want to talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah,
no,
that's right.
And so why do you think it's underdiagnosed? Yeah, because if it's not something that the doctor checks just every time you walk in at random, and you're not wanting to really sit there in that 10 minutes you got with the guy while you're talking about your blood pressure and your cholesterol and everything else, go, and by the way, I feel terrible, my manliness is kind of slipping a little bit, I'm weak, I can't do as much. You don't really want to talk about it. And you only got a few minutes anyway, right? And so, yeah, but we need to talk about it because it matters. And, let's say you don't care about some of these symptoms. Let's say, I don't care about the manly bedroom kind of stuff. That's not my, why do I have to worry about this? Well, I also don't want to live out my golden years at higher risk of fractures and falls and everything else because muscle mass and bone mass are decreasing. So it matters for your overall health in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
But it's easy to treat.
Okay.
You know how you treat it? Well, Jared, I've been talking. Your turn. How you treat it?
I was hoping you'd stop.
Yeah.
Well, this is not rocket science. If you have low testosterone, you treat it by replacing it with testosterone, right? And it comes in a whole bunch of forms. A lot of people like to use the gels. They're easy, right? You apply them to your skin once a day, and they're absorbed that way into your bloodstream, and that's easy. Probably something we don't see near as much as a patch. There's a patch, I don't know when's the last time we did a prescription for that, but there is a patch available. It's kind of irritating to the skin and probably not the best method of testosterone replacement. There's an injection, which would be one of the more common ways, probably more effective than the gels and patches anyway. One of the issues with the injection is you kind of have to do it more often a lot of times than the doctors will prescribe it for you to keep the level anywhere close to being level. And then the final way, at least that we'll talk about this morning, would be pellet therapy. We don't talk about this that much. You can do female hormones like this as well, but they kind of make a little incision in your skin, put these pellets right up under your skin. I mean, they're basically the size of a grain of rice. and they put them right up under your skin, they provide more of a constant level over time, and they last a number of months. So you deal with a little bit of incision, but you also don't have to inject yourself every week or a couple of times a week, to keep a good level.
So there's no over-the-counter medications for this?
No, there is
That's a
nothing
good
you
question.
can walk in and purchase for this. Well, okay, you know what? I need to address this one. If you've ever heard any commercial for it, you just go to any GNC and there's this product and that product, and these are all going to raise your testosterone level. I'm not here to knock any product. Let's just say that if these are some things I'm dealing with, that's the 100% last thing I'm going to do. I'm gonna go get it diagnosed by my physician, and I'm gonna look at testosterone replacement therapy rather than random herbals and nutraceuticals that claim to naturally increase your testosterone level. Which, I mean, I like the sound of that. That sounds like a good thing, but it's way less proven and way less tested, and I'd be much more nervous about that.
Without getting too complicated, some of these medications that are out there, and without naming them, some of these medications that are out there, they may actually increase your testosterone level by a small percent. Some of them affect other hormones, again, without getting too complicated, in an effort to help you produce more. But if the normal range of male testosterone for your lab work, let's just say, is 300 or 400 to 800, and your testosterone is lingering somewhere around 100, these medications are nowhere close, are nowhere capable of getting to where it needs to be.
Yeah. I'm assuming that if a man would generally want to talk to a man about his lack of manhood or whatever the symptoms might be, can they just kind of run it by you guys?
Sure. And honestly, while we can't do the blood work, obviously, or diagnose it or prescribe it, we can, okay, is this something worth pursuing? We can help you with that. Is this something worth talking to your doctor about? And if you're going to talk to your doctor about it, if we get to that conclusion, we'll help you with some of the key phrases, ways to say it, ways to think about it to get that road started and maybe make it less, I don't know, scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing too embarrassing, honestly.
There's nothing to it. Again, it's 50% in some age groups. Yeah.
This is something that we talk about every single week, almost every single day, actually.
Yeah, this is a very normal conversation.
Not anywhere near the most embarrassing thing we talk about.
Yeah, this is a very normal
speaking
conversation.
of embarrassment, me pronouncing that word.
You did a fine job on the 10th try.
Testosterone.
No,
I think tontuterone is just fine.
that was Lone Ranger's
Appreciate
friend.
these guys. They're a sight and a half. Jared and Jacob from Marble City Pharmacy. And Health Monday, as always, we appreciate you guys joining us. We got much more to do on Daybreak Live right after you watch this.